One.
This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, another NWA Spotlight. You'll notice that my co-host Fiona Lochran isn't here. It's an early morning wake-up call for Fiona tomorrow, so she isn't joining us, but she does send her apologies. But the man that we come here today is in his second stint of NWA. First time he won the NWA Television Championship. He recently returned to the Power Station in search of one thing: gold. And he's got his eyes on some gold as well. We'll get into that in a minute, but let's welcome him first. It is the Pope. Welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you for having me, Adam. I am very elated, if you will, to be here on Hitting the Turnbuckle.
Thank you for joining us. Actually, one of the promoters that we work with over here, we work with a promotion over here called Ignite Wrestling. And I said to one of the promoter of the show, who I'm very close friends with, that I got you coming on. And he was like, he's one of my favorite guys that I've ever seen in the ring. I don't know if he models his wrestling style on you, but he was very much along the lines of, he was really excited I had you coming on. He was like, he was one of the people I used to watch quite regularly on television. So he was really happy that you're coming on. So that was an interesting.
What the hell are you waiting on? Why ain't brought Pope over there yet? I'd love to come back.
I'll put a word. I don't even have to put a word in, but I'll let him know that you're looking. We've actually got a championship with them. So hey, look, you want gold, right? There you go. Pope comes in. But look, before we get to NWA, I got asked a question yesterday with one of my friends, and they said to me, like, describe wrestling in 2025, and the instant word that I said was variety. I said, because you've obviously, look, you've got the glitz and the glamour of the WWE. You've got AEW, which is very much wrestling orientated. TNA, that I always class as an X Division spotlight with a great focus on the knockouts. And I said you've got NWA, which is like a combination of them all, but it has that kind of old school style, which I grew up watching as a kid, right? Would you agree that a variety is a good word, and those words are quite good for each promotion?
I think that your choice of words there is spot on, and certainly you gave a great description of every single promotion. So kudos to you for that. I think the word variety definitely fits NWA in particular, because it has a little something of it all, including the old school feel, the old school aspect of the wrestling that you and I grew up on.
Yeah.
And much like R&B is R&B, pop is pop, rock is rock. Michael Jackson was all of that.
Yeah.
So something for everybody. And so good description.
I feel as if, like, I don't do it. I personally don't do NWA enough justice. So Fiona, my co-host, she's been watching it for many years. She got me into it personally a couple of years ago when she come on the podcast. She went out to the Crockett Cup when the Briscoes won it. I believe she was out there for that. But one of the exactly that. One of the things that strikes me about NWA that I really like, and I mentioned it's an old school style type of thing, but one of my gripes with wrestling that I have a little bit is the amount of times people have to hit their finish nowadays, or they'll hit a load of moves. But what I like about NWA is Damage hits a drop kick, and this thing is done, or an elbow drop will finish it. Do you know what I mean? That's what I love about it.
You don't see Pope hitting his knees 3-4 times. If I can't beat him with one, then it ain't worth it, right?
Yeah.
Why is it a finishing maneuver?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that is something, again, talk about the evolution of wrestling. And even on my podcast, Pope's Point of View, with Elijah Burke and my co-host, Polo Del Mar, something that we've discussed multiple times. Because you got these great athletes, and so that I'm not necessarily pinpointing anyone, I could just start at the top at least. Look at what we witnessed at WrestlePalooza, two of the biggest stars. Obviously, I'm talking about John Cena, I'm talking about Brock Lesnar. Obviously, the yin and yang, and Godzilla versus King Kong, Superman versus Batman. Take it however you want to equate them. But, I remember there was a time, them hitting their finishes multiple times due to the equality of both of their stardom, that, to me, is passable. But when you're hitting your finisher on someone who is not the Kong to your Godzilla, multiple times, who is not your Batman or Superman or Doomsday multiple times, then it kind of, in my opinion, lessens the impact of what a finisher is.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, I didn't even like the fact that they were doing it to each other so many times, but I've come accustomed to it.
To each his own. To
Yeah.
each his own, and I'm with you on that. But if anybody gets a pass, it would be those two because again, because of their stardom and because of the equality of the personnel in that ring.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. They do get a pass, but yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea. Right?
Even Undertaker, you didn't see Undertaker hitting maybe one time. That had happened, or twice that had happened, and that was with Shawn Michaels. Why? Because of the moment, because of the magnitude, because of the duality and the equality of both of those men in that ring. When Shawn Michaels kicked out of that, it's like, holy crap. The first time when Kane kicks out, when Kane and Undertaker first comes together, and it took Undertaker 2 to 3 times to put away Kane. Well, it was for a purpose. It was to build him as a monster and equal to the Undertaker as far as destruction in the ring goes. And they did that job in building up Kane perfectly. And for those of you who are youngsters who don't, know about that, go back to 1997 to when Kane comes, and you'll understand it better.
Yeah, I definitely understood that very, very well. I remember those days. I remember Kane debuting. But one of the things, just going back to NWA, when I first started watching it, what caught me straight away, obviously apart from all of that sort of nostalgia, bringing it back in, but with the modern day twist, was just how good some of the roster members actually were. I didn't say it took me by surprise, but I looked at a Kenzie Page, who was probably like 19, 20 when I first watched it. And I sat there, and I think on one of the first podcasts that me and Fiona did, I went, she's like a ring general at 20 years old. It's ridiculous just how good she is. When you come back to the NWA recently, was it a big surprise to see how good these people were? Because it blew me away just watching it for the first time a few years ago.
No, I think for myself, while away, I was never departed, if that makes sense. Or while I departed, I was never away. So I love the fact that I was able to watch some of these new ones come in, some of the new talent, and watch them not just shine, but witness their growth. And that is something that, you're watching, when you talk about a Kenzie Page and several of the other talent, you watch them evolve. And obviously the cream rises to the top, and she did.
Yeah, she certainly did. Big one coming. It's not aired yet it's not aired yet on Power, but 77 is coming up. So what I've enjoyed about NWA is the storyline element. So what we had before was you would see someone like a Colby Carino, and God bless him, I hope he's doing okay. But you wouldn't see him for sort of 6 weeks, and you kind of miss. I'd be like, "Where's Colby gone?" I've missed him watching Colby, and then he would reappear, right? But what they've done now is you're starting to see some sort of really good produced cutaway scenes on Power now. So you've had the bit we get into a little bit where they're doing like a will reading at the minute, and someone's going to get, but they've. Or they've got the bit with Smalls and Knox and Murdoch where they attacked him, and now next week he's got Trevor, I think, and he's got Trevor Murdoch, and I think Knox is going to be handcuffed to the top. But they've added those little bits like that, and for me personally, that makes it even more watchable because I can see these little cut points, and it seems to me Billy's really sort of looking at the production side of things and making some big moves in that area.
Certainly, that's a Billy Corgan call, and him and his team. So to add a little bit more of entertainment to the staple, if you will, of the NWA. That's always a good thing. Always looking for a way to evolve, a way to keep your product fresh. So I don't see anything wrong with it unless. And this is with anybody. This is with anybody with any show. The payoffs have to be worth it. So long as the payoff is worth it, then kudos and may the cutaway scenes continue.
Yes, I don't mind them so. As I said, I think it's good that they keep the storyline.
And I think it's great to hear your feedback and certainly others who who enjoy it as well, they should, tweet it, let it be known how much that they're enjoying, the little insertions of, outside the ring entertainment, dialogue, and the list goes on.
We certainly do. We make a point of it when we talk about it on our show anyway. We certainly do. And the other thing that we're doing as well is we're going into the territories a lot more with the NWA. So we're covering, I know this will go out after this is it, after this particular show, for example, but we're covering EC3's promotion over in Exodus Pro this weekend. They got a show, Exodus. KFW just had another show recently, Black Harvest, which had a good friend of the show, Mr. Anderson, was on there as well, which was nice to see Ken back in, and he was doing TNA recently. But going back to the territories bit is massively important because yes, you've got these rising stars in the NWA, but the most important thing is that you've got a production line. And NWA have got Chicago, New Mexico, they've got Crossfire, they've got JC Pin, everyone like. So it's important they keep that production line coming in of these stars that are kind of starting to integrate into NWA a little bit more as the weeks and months go on there.
Well, I think what you're referring to is a system, and for a lack of a better term, a developmental system, developmental territories. That is what wrestling has always been. That is what we see. Period. The indies, as they are often referred to, are developmental territories for everyone. No one goes to any promotion, start out at any indie promotion and say, I made it. That if that's their goal, then God bless them. But everyone's goal should be to get to the top and get to an established nationwide, world-known promotion, whatever promotion that may be, and pursue their dreams on a bigger stage. So I think it's very important for the NWA to have that, because you got to, you create stars, but you don't necessarily create stars for them to stay your stars when you talk about the younger generation, because they may move on to something bigger, something, and let's face it, everybody's goal, everyone's goal should be WrestleMania. Yeah. And that's just fact. I am grateful, and I've always been, I was born and raised on the NWA. So when NWA Power started and I arrived in 2019, I'm like, yo, I'm loving the old school feel. I love this old school mentality. But, some of those guys, like you talk about the Kenzie Page, this is not her end all be all, and Billy Corgan wouldn't try to stunt her from going anywhere. Look at Kaylee. That speaks to the success. I call her Kaylee. What's the child name?
Camille.
Camille. Thank you. So look at Camille. So it's the same with her. She went on to AEW, and we have others that have gone on to developmental in WWE's NXT, and the list goes on. So you have to always have that feeder system. So NWA having the territories, as you were talking about, it's great because he can always integrate new talent and grow them as well.
Yeah, it is, and it's great to see a lot of them. And Pretty Boy Smooth is one of them. He's a big fan of the show as well. He's come on a couple of times. We've had him on, and I said again, sort of describing in one word, and I just said money, because he's got that stature, but he's got that intimidating force. He's everything that he's got quite a bit of everything as Pretty Boy Smooth. But there's one guy in particular I know you've had a little bit of a problem with on Power. That would be Mims, shall we say? He's been a guy that he's changed since he's met Black G's. Because what a lot of people, and I think Dill's made a point on commentary, and it's hard to disagree, because he kind of said that before Mims got with Black G's, the one thing that he lacked potentially was killer instinct, and for some reason aligning himself with Black G's, he's kind of got that killer instinct, although you did manage to pick up the win in a non-title match recently against him. But he's someone that the last 12 to 18 months, and I could probably count about a dozen of these NWA talents in the last 12 to 18 months, have really shone and have come out of maybe their shells a bit. I don't know. But Mims is one of those guys that I look at and I think this guy has got star potential.
Yeah, Mims is another one. When you harken back to what we were just speaking of, I wouldn't expect for him to, stay where he's at, because Mims is grown and he is growing, and he can go on to become an even bigger star, if his card is pulled, or if his star is called upon. Um, but I've had a hand in developing them, and so I won't say that because he got with G's, it changed him. What happened to Mims was what happens to a lot of people, and that was the taste of success. So if you want to call upon success being the determining factor that caused Mims to become what Mims has become, then that will be accurate. G's just happened to be part of that success as far as the mentality goes, as far as the hey man, it's all about winning. And as G's would say, the church is money. I don't know where the hell that comes from, but it is what it is. But Mims is been on somewhat of a roll, and as I said, when I returned to NWA, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of what he's been able to do. I'm proud of what Mims has accomplished thus far. But you got to keep your head on. You got to stay humble, because pride always comes before the fall. And as you have alluded to already, he fell at the hands of Pope, and there'll be more falling to come if he don't redirect his mindset.
Speaking of falls, and you didn't suffer a fall, but you suffered a little bit of a beatdown at the end of the last Power show that you were on. That coming from, well, should we say an old nemesis or an old friend from the days gone by, Mike Mondo, who's geez, that guy's filled out a little bit, isn't he? Like Jesus, he's a big old lump. He's an old lump there, isn't he? God. And another one that I think is going to go very far in Slade. I see a lot of, I don't like to make comparisons because things like. But when you say the word Kurt Angle, and you people, you were going, I was going there, right? But with that, I mean, they've got to come to comeuppance from those two after their little beat down from the Pope a couple of weeks ago on Power, right?
Mondo and Slade has been they've been wrecking havoc. And this is something that all of the viewers that have been watching, and something that you guys are already aware of. I was aware of it, of course, but I had no idea whatsoever that Pope would be in their viewpoint, if you understand what I'm saying. I had no idea about that. Speaking of that run-in, I don't remember the referee's name, but the hell with him. He gets himself out of the way, and he don't even tell Pope, watch out or whatever. Then he stands in there and he hops around like a doggone clown in a rodeo show. Like, bruh, you could have you could have told me. But I have no idea what it's about, what that was about. Pope is dealing with an obvious ankle issue now, and you may not be seeing me for a minute. I'm hoping that, as you guys will see, that when the thing comes around and NWA 77 rolls out, maybe you'll see Pope in the ring, or maybe you won't, but that will happen in due time.
We'll go back to 77 in a minute. I want to just switch gears and talk about Samhain. Now it has had its controversies over the last few years, as anyone that's watched will know, right? But what I wanted to actually talk about is the growing popularity with the NWA, because this year Samhain has just gone massive in terms of the star power that they're bringing in. The most recent names that they've just announced are the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. But does that just go to show you that, yes, obviously that you're being paid to go in and wrestle. That's obvious. I'm not being stupid, but the fact that people like yourself wants to come back to the NWA, the fact that people like Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows, Shotzi Blackheart all want to appear and wrestle for the NWA must go to show the job that Billy Corgan has done over the last few years, building the NWA up to a level that it is now.
Yeah, not just Billy Corgan. All of the hard working talent that are staples in the NWA, who have kept the NWA going and growing in such a way. We had Rich Swann, who
Yep.
he was there, and it has been and will be at Samhain. So I think it speaks a great deal to where NWA is today, and because the surprise factor remains. You never know who's going to show up. You never know who's going to appear. And as you just mentioned, you got Matt Cardona, the Good Brothers, Rich Swann, Shotzi, and the staple of the NWA roster. Everyone will be there. Tom Latimer. The champ will be there, Thrill Billy, and the list goes on. So I think Billy has done a wonderful job with keeping the NWA out there, if you will, and keeping it diverse as well.
Yeah, definitely so. I can't. I mean, whenever it airs, because that's the only thing. I think we spoke to a lot of talent, and they're like, we wish we still had like the pay-per-views, like the PLEs or whatever. I don't know, signature live events. God knows what the names are nowadays. But the fact that like a Samhain would air live or a Crockett Cup would air live, and I think that was the kind of only sort of thing that even the wrestlers are saying that come on, saying that we kind of missed that a little bit,
Yeah.
But
I agree with that wholeheartedly. But when you a lot of the cost and production, all that stuff plays a part. Time and how you're doing, specifically with NWA, you're doing Roku, television. So it's like, so everything has to be delayed. You don't get that. Like you and I probably once did, sit down on Sundays with the family, watch the pay-per-view live, and watch it unfold right before you, and not have to deal with spoilers. And you don't have to look for them. They'll come to you. They'll come to you. Especially with the way social media is. It's like I didn't want to see that, but it happens. That's the age we're in, and you have to adapt. And that's what everyone is doing, is adapting.
Yeah, I will say this with NWA though. I've had to look if I wanted to find out, and I've been very good of like I've kept it with like 77, for example. I've not I know I can get them and I know where I can get them, but I think it's because I like to review what I see. I don't like to know what I'm reviewing, if that makes sense. I know that may sound like a silly analogy, but I will purposely not look at that. So I'm going to come into 77 fresh, not knowing what's happened, not knowing what's going on, and just building up to it on Roku. That's how I do it. You mentioned Roku, and I wanted to talk about that because that is a big thing for NWA. I know they had the CW, but they come out now onto Roku. This is huge for the NWA to get onto the streaming platform weekly. It's a massive deal, and that again just goes to prove that these little bits and pieces that Billy and everyone was doing in the background has paid off now, because you've got a big streaming deal there with Roku, and that's testament to the work that's been done on the NWA.
Yeah, NWA on Roku Sports. Every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. But also you have to look at the fact that they have a 24-hour wrestling channel, and NWA Power is it's the staple there. It's what is built upon, and I'm pretty sure more as they Roku Sports grow off of the back of the NWA as well. I'm pretty sure they're adding more wrestling content on there. But right now, NWA Power is is holding that wrestling channel up, and it's doing well.
Roku Sports, if you're watching, can you launch it in the UK as a fast channel, please? Because we'd love to see it. We're watching.
Yeah,
cool.
And don't preempt the Pope match again. What the hell happened with that? You may not have known about that, but what was the deal there? We still don't know what happened with the Roku airing, but hopefully they'll figure that out and fix it. I think what happened was there was so much talk and buzz around Pope's return to the ring that somebody at Roku said, "Oh, this would be a great time to put on a fishing show so that we can get views for it." Because not everybody, you know how it is. Everybody that works for a company ain't necessarily a wrestling fanatic, you know. So, ask WCW.
Yeah, prime example of that, WCW. But no, look, we're watching it via VPN over here in the UK. Well, I am. Fiona, my co-host, who's bigger, probably bigger NWA than I, she's got the same VPN as me. She can't watch it.
Wow.
She is. She messaged me. Funnily enough, this is Tuesday at time of recording. Everyone, I have actually already seen the episode of Power this week. This aired. I can watch it in the UK. I watched it 6 p.m. UK time, so 1 p.m. your time. I'd watched it. I was watching it, so I've seen it. But yeah, Fiona can't, and it's the bane of her life at the minute. But hopefully she can, because I don't like doing review shows on my own and talking to a brick wall that I talk to is in front of me. So hopefully, Fiona, you can watch it this week and get on. But going back to 77, look, 77th anniversary, 77th birthday party of the NWA, again, shows you that it is the oldest wrestling company. And it is for a reason, and they're still going today. How much did you enjoy? Well, if you're there, of course we don't know, but how much does NWA 77 mean to wrestling? Not just the NWA. This foundation was built 77 years ago, still going strong today. How much does it mean to wrestling?
I think the most important aspect is the number. And you kind of alluded to it. 77. It's a brand statement of NWA to let the fans know who may not be aware. Yeah, there are new fans, there are older fans, but you have people that are coming to an event, and the name alone, NWA 77, that raises question. Why is it 77? And so it's a moment to educate fans, and, you know, to especially the new ones, to say, hey, this company has been around for 77 years, and it is the oldest branded promotion in the world. So I think it's a testament to those who have kept the NWA name alive. It's a testament to those who built the NWA brand, going back to, you know, Harley Race and Dusty Rhodes, obviously Ric Flair, and the list goes on. Even before that, Luthez, the Funks. It is just a testament that, you know, those guys and the stones, the building blocks that they stacked one on top of the other, it ain't going nowhere. It's like the Rome Coliseum. It's still standing.
It is. And it's still standing and still going strong as well. There's no cracks in those bricks.
Kudos to Billy Corgan on that, who is the biggest NWA fan. If there's such a thing, it would be Billy, because you know, it goes without saying, he's going to make sure, as long as he's alive, that brand continues to grow and prosper under the Lightning One era.
Definitely so. I think Jared Fritz was the referee for your match, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Nope, it was not Fritz.
No, it wasn't Fritz. Damn, I thought it was Fritz.
It wasn't Fritz.
I have to go back to my notes.
I just can't think. Scott.
Oh, Scott. Yeah, I can't remember his last name.
I don't know if Scott is the last, but I can't. And it's my boy too, and I just can't think of his name. But it'll come. Scott something.
I'm gonna find out while we're on.
Yeah, because those things they mess with your head, right?
Yeah,
they just
that's exactly what it's doing to me right now. It's killing me not knowing. I need to find his last name.
But
I'm gonna find out. It's gonna bug me. But while I find out anyway, I want to talk. You mentioned the name Tom Latimer to me, and obviously he's a fellow Brit, like me. Oh, just a hindsight. If you want to win him over, get him some Galaxy chocolate. This is one of his favorite chocolate bars. Look, he is the champion currently at time of recording. And you mentioned the word gold in what you were looking to come back. And does Tom Latimer have to look over his shoulder at the Pope?
You won't have to look over his shoulder. Just look. Just all you gotta do is look ahead. Pope's not coming from behind. Pope ain't pulling the Mike Mondo. I'm very clear. I'm very clear in what I'm there for, and it's for the 10 pounds of gold, to be specific. Now, obviously, I can understand why Mims took issue with that because, well, the national championship is a precursor to the world championship. That means that he's, second in line to the top. But yeah, Pope's back for the 10 pounds of gold, Daddy. I'm back to finish my own story, if you will. And I won't cease. I won't stop. I will not be delayed. I will not be derailed. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there.
We look forward to it. Scott Wheeler, by the way.
There it is. No, that's wrong. It's not Scott Wheeler. Scott Wheeler's is well, no, that don't sound right to me either.
It's on the NWA roster page.
It says Scott Wheeler?
Yeah. Underneath Fritz, you've got Kevin Keenan, you got Jared Fritz, Scott Wheeler, and Ashley Stout.
Well, Scott Wheeler is, and that's who it is. We'll go with Scott Wheeler. I hear Wheeler, and I think about an old OVW referee by the name Wheeler, and so that's what got me there. But yeah, Scott. All I know is Scott. So and I've known him for some time. So Scott Wheeler, that was the referee, and he did not do his due diligence in letting Pope know that danger was imminent.
And so big danger that it was as well, by the way. So Scott, your card's marked, Scott.
That's it, Scott Wheeler. But hey, he got himself out of harm's way, didn't he?
He did. He put you in. You're in the firing line, but he jumped out of it. That's for sure. That's for sure. Just before we start to wrap up, I just wanted to change the subject a little bit because we had spoken and we said about WWE and everything like that. And I just wanted to get some. Look, we're in 2025, and I kind of said the word variety. But another way of looking at it is I never thought we would see in my lifetime, I've never known wrestling without a McMahon in there. Did you ever thought you would see that in your lifetime?
Never. I mean, I thought I would see it, obviously, when it comes to Vince specifically. If the natural order of processes to take place, then I will, I expected it, but no, never, not WWE.
No.
Wrestling, period, but not, Shane, and Shane had goals and aspirations to do other things as well. Stephanie being Vince's, clone, if you will, when it comes to the mind and the ruthless aggression. She's that. So I never thought that we'd have WWE without Vince McMahon, and that is a total. Again, I talk about it on Post Point of View podcast all the time. On that, I will say this: never say never.
No.
Don't. As long as blood runs, regardless of how little and how dry it may be, if it's running through his veins, I will not count him out. I'm just not going to do it. And you can't.
No,
you can't.
You can't. You certainly can't.
And you look at where things are right now, there's a uproar, if you will, of how things are being done and the pricing out of working families, for that company specifically. They're finding every way to get every penny that is possible. It could come back to hurt them. If you price out the working class family, it could come back to hurt them. What happens if at some point TKO starts to lose money and not make money? No ROI, return on investment, as Polo Del Mar likes to say. Well, they might look to off-heave the WWE. They just brought back $2 billion worth of their own stock. Yeah. What happens if they go private?
Yeah.
And by the way, Pope got stock, so I need to check to see how much the stock is right now. I keep a watch on my WWE stock, okay? But what happens if they go private? That means they can sell, and they can sell to anybody they want to, and there's somebody out there that got a lot of money.
Mm. I have a really horrible feeling that they may sell it to Saudis.
That's a possibility as well, and that's something that, again, I'm not here to plug Pope's point of view, but me and my co-host Polo Del Mar, we talk about it. That is a huge possibility, you know, and I specifically said that when they brought $2 billion worth of stock, $2 billion worth of stock, that's a lot of money. And so if they've set up office over there, they just set up an office over in Saudi Arabia. So, what happens then?
That's going to be, yeah. Well, they got WrestleMania.
Crazier things that happen. So you can't dismiss it.
Hey, they got WrestleMania before the UK, right? So anything can happen. That's it. And the Royal Rumble for that matter. Yeah. I digress. That's another conversation for another day. But look, you mentioned the podcast and mentioned that you do some charity work as well. Tell us about your podcast and your charity work before we start wrapping up.
I appreciate it. Well, again, I've already talked about Post Point of View podcast. That's wherever you guys can obtain podcasts. We are available at iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Apple, Stitcher. The list goes on. I'll go ahead and put out this disclaimer right now because Pope won't be at Samhain. I have, huge charity event coming up that Friday. And I don't know when this drops, but October the 17th, me and my charity will be at a school. We'll be talking and encouraging the youth about tomorrow, about what's next, something that I take much pride in doing, which I was already obligated to. And then my charity's fundraising event, which is a wrestling show, will happen on the 18th, called Revelation. It's our last SLE. There's that term again, but we call it special live events. So it's our last SLE of the year in Jacksonville, Florida. And we are the premier. We're not even a promotion, but again, we do this. We got JTG that's going to be there. Jay the God, former Crime Time member, if you guys know that, obviously. We got international superstar Jay Rios, Patrick Clark Jr., the former Velveteen Dream. We're bringing him on in. And we got a list of others. Russell Twins, which is our LAC Tag Team Champions. Got a bright future ahead for them. Isaiah Zane, Leroy Jones, and the list goes on. Of course, myself, I'll be there. We do these fundraising events for one reason and one reason only. That's the key words, fun. We're not government supported. We do not get any financial assistance from anyone other than you, the listener, the viewer, the supporter, and the list goes on. And so while I'm on that, I want to say thank you to you, Adam, for donating to the cause, donating to our mission. I take that to heart. I don't take it lightly. Anyone who decides to say, hey man, I believe in what you're doing, here you go, And we show this. We show what we do. You can follow the Love Alive charity, which is the name of my charity. You can follow it on Instagram, on Facebook, or Twitter. You can also go to love-alive.org. That is our website. You can go. There's videos at the bottom if you want to see how hundreds of people line up around the block just to get a hot meal. And I'm not talking about from the back of a truck. I'm not talking about a brown paper bag. I'm talking about Burger King. I'm talking about McDonald's. We feed them hot food out of there, and then we give them clothes. We got hygiene products, feminine products. We give blankets for the ones who are on the streets sleeping under a bridge, and the list goes on. And obviously we deal with the troubled youth with my mentorship program, Becoming. And I just, again, Scott, excuse me, Adam, I just want to say thank you, Scott Wheeler. I'm going to knock him out. Adam, I just want to say thank you for supporting the cause. You didn't have to do it, but you did. And to anyone out there who wants to help make a difference by positively influencing many people, look, donate $1, donate $2. You know, we got 33, 34 donations for the entire year of 2025. We like to try to get up to 100 every year. That remains to be seen, but we forge ahead. And I thank you, Scott, for being one of those numbers.
No problem. And
Adam,
it's all right.
Scott's in my brain now, man.
That was my fault because I kept on about who.
I didn't get a chance to vent my frustrations. You know, I didn't get a chance to vent my frustrations. So I'll see him and deal with him in due time.
You definitely do that. Where can people donate? And if it's okay, can I take the link and put it on the YouTube bit at the bottom?
Love-alive.org. Love hyphen mark. That's a subtraction thingy icon. You know, love-alive.org. That is where you go, click the donate tab. And or you can donate via Cash App, but I know y'all in the UK, I don't know how that works, but you can donate via Cash App. $ the Love Alive charity for anyone watching stateside or over in wherever you may be. But yeah, man, anything helps. Anything help us to continue to be the change that we wish to see in the world.
That's great. The link will be on the YouTube description, and everybody. So make sure. Look, we know times are tough, but listen, there is people out there going through more hardship than we should be taking. Well, we should think ourselves very fortunate that we can do what we can do. I'm certainly fortunate. Look, I've had. Listen, I'll just tell you this before I go. I'm fortunate. I suffered heart failure a couple of years ago, and like my whole outlook changed. Like I got like a 10-year-old. He was probably 8 at the time when it happened. I didn't know I was having it. No, I didn't know. I was unwell. I had like an infection, a chest infection, and I flew down to my family. So my family lived sort of really right at the end of the UK, a place called Cornwall. And stupidly, I flew. I didn't know I had any issue. I ended up going to hospital down there, and they took my blood pressure. And the doctor's question to me was, how have you walked in the room? He said, your blood pressure was 236 over 138. He went, you're in cardiac arrest and you don't know it. And but anyway, basically, I was trying to use a story to go back to the charity and everything. It basically made me obviously change my outlook in life and appreciate maybe things I took for granted. That was, like your life, you take your life for granted, right? Because you know you do.
You never know. You just never know. And I want to say this on that wavelength, that there was an individual that came up, and as they stand in line. I mean, we started like 12 noon, but people will be out there at 9 o'clock in the morning just waiting. And there's a gentleman came up and he said he needed 2 of each things. And I said, 2? You know, I said, hold on. He said, well, my wife is over in the car. I said, take me to her. Right. Because, you know, I'm a former officer, so I deal with, you know, I kind of, all right. So it's like, take me to her. He points over at this Dodge Charger, a good looking Dodge Charger. I don't know if you guys know what type of car that is, but it's a decent type of car, right? And so we walk over to that car. He said, I'll show you, man. I'm not lying. He take me over there, and in the front seat of is his wife, who has a leg missing, or you know, amputated leg, I should say. Yeah. And the back of that Charger is all of their possessions. And I say that to say this, you know, it could be you. Don't judge a book by its cover. It could be you. It could be any of us that are displaced for whatever reason. And everybody that is homeless are out on the streets are not there by their own doing. Some has been in apartment fires, house fires, no insurance, no renters insurance, and there's no family. You got these some teenagers that ran away from home, got tired of being abused, and chose the streets instead. So we have to be mindful and cognizant of that when we say, "Oh, well, they should have did better." Well, I think we can do better too, and we be better by again being the change that we wish to see in the world. You never know when it'll be your time. And while I'm on my soapbox, the last thing I'll say is there was someone, Adam, and this has happened several times through the years. My charity's existed for 14 years now, and come January. And several times there's been individuals that have hit me up. I can see that they see the product of the charity stuff. And you don't have to hear this, but they will ask me, and I have a board. We have a board, 501c3. We're filed in the, in the annals of Tallahassee, I mean. And so I can't make decisions on my own, but if we're not the Red Cross either. If I could be the Red Cross, I would. We're just not. But how can you see where we're constantly saying, hey, man, we need your help, and just $1 makes a difference. And then you hit the charity up because you're in a hotel and you're saying, I'm going to be kicked out if I don't have, XYZ. And, I know some people like to play off your vulnerability and all of that stuff. But I'm just drawing focus to the fact that you never know when it's your time.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, man. We're all up to date. We could be down tomorrow.
Exactly that. And keep up the good work with that, Pope. That is a really gracious charity. And yeah, I will put that link down there. If anyone can donate anything, honestly, it can change people's lives. And it does. And it really, really does. I've seen it myself. But look, Pope, we're out of time. Thank you so much for taking your time to come and talk to me. We look forward to seeing you on episodes of Power. As you mentioned, unfortunately not at Samhain. We hope to see you at 77. Keep watching NWA on Roku, NWA Power, should I say, on Roku every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. Is that right? I am right with that. Or if you're in the UK, you can watch it via VPN. You can get that and watch it pretty much. Well, I watched it earlier on, so you can watch it anytime, but generally on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. Cheater, yes. Hey. Or in Fiona's case, you can't watch it at all, and she starts throwing her Roku stick out the window. So on that note, Pope, it's been a pleasure. But for the Pope, everyone, from me, Adam Cousins, buckle down, stay safe, and